We are back on Get Up and breaking news just in. Adam Schefter, what can you tell us?
The Las Vegas Raiders are signing Kirk Cousins to play quarterback out in Vegas, where Fernando Mendoza is expected to be the #1 pick. There's a connection between the Raiders head coach Clint Kubiak and Kirk Cousins. They spent 3 seasons together in Minnesota. They now will be reunited in Las Vegas, and there's a real possibility that the Raiders' opening day starting quarterback will be Kirk Cousins over the #1 potential pick, Fernando Mendoza. But Kirk Cousins, who moved on from Atlanta, who wanted to continue playing, now has reached agreement this morning with the Las Vegas Raiders.
I don't like it. I love it. I've said it a million times. Don't throw these kids out there and put them in a position where they have to be the guy, not only week 1, but starting from the very beginning of training camp. I think this is a great move. And Tim Hasselbeck, I literally had just pointed out, because I saw it while I was in Phoenix with the owners meeting stuff, that Clint Kubiak had said, in a perfect world, Fernando won't be the starter at the very beginning. We'd like to find a veteran who could come in and play. Not 100% sure we'll be able to make that happen. And here they are now, able to make it happen. What do you make of this? Cousins to the Raiders, Tim.
I love it. I love it. I love the history between Kubiak and Kirk Cousins. I love the type of veteran that you're signing for Mendoza to learn from. Cousins will be an absolute pro in terms of how he prepares. Not that Mendoza needs some unbelievable example in terms of that. Seems like he's already off to a good start, but it's a good confirming example for him. It's also a guy that has the battle scars of playing in an offense and some of the things that Mendoza is going to be able to learn from. So I think it's a perfect environment, especially on a team. I said it earlier, it's a brutal gauntlet of quarterbacks to play in that division. It's a brutal gauntlet of defenses to play in that division. And so Mendoza not being thrown to the fire immediately is also not a bad thing for him.
Jordan.
Best thing that could have ever happened to Fernando Mendoza, and he hasn't even stepped foot in an NFL locker room yet. And I mean that. This is an opportunity to learn, to pace yourself without the pressure that goes into being a #1 overall pick on a roster that, frankly, is probably not ready for you to have success with that wide receiver room. I cover the UFL right now. It looks like a UFL roster in that wide receiver room. A lot of names that you're like, oh, I kind of remember that guy. He was okay in college. They need to bolster that. Having a veteran like Kirk Cousins, and even more importantly, a veteran that plays the position the same way that Fernando Mendoza does. Wins between the ears. Good arm, not great arm talent. A guy that can win from the pocket and teach you and help you learn that process before the pressure really amps up.
I think you're 1,000% right. Think about the situation he's walking into. The 2 guys who can mentor him are Kirk Cousins, who is a pro's pro, and Tom freaking Brady, who is the greatest quarterback of all time and obviously was maniacal in preparation and study and all that kind of stuff. So Mendoza, you don't draft a quarterback #1 because you want to win the Super Bowl this year. You draft a quarterback #1 because you want to be in it for the next 15 years. I don't think it could be starting better. There's no way it could be starting better for Mendoza than this.
And it's also interesting to me, in Atlanta, Kirk Cousins did not choose to work with Michael Penix.
Right.
He was hoisted on him, surprisingly, when the Falcons used the 8th overall pick on Penix. In this particular case, Kirk Cousins is choosing to work with Fernando Mendoza.
Right.
This is somebody that he obviously had an option about whether or not he wanted to work with this young quarterback, and he chose to sign with Las Vegas. He chose to sign on to work with Fernando Mendoza. He did not do that in Atlanta. These are a different set of circumstances, and Kirk Cousins will be a great quarterback for Fernando Mendoza to be around.
Okay, so it's a good story. It doesn't feel like stop the presses, but I think it is significant, particularly with as much interest as there is in Mendoza. There's another quarterback situation I've been wanting to get to here. While I was out in Phoenix the last couple of days, I saw these quotes from Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, in which he was saying, if I could just sort of paraphrase, Deshaun Watson has an excellent chance to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns this year. Deshaun Watson obviously has not played in a very long time for a variety of reasons, up to and including significant injury history here. So, Schefter, what should we be thinking now about Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, 2 first-round picks, and the Cleveland Browns?
Listen, a year ago, Jimmy Haslam was at the owners' meeting saying it was a swing and a miss on Deshaun Watson. Well, guess what? Deshaun Watson is now back in the batter's box, and he's got a real chance to reach base here and win the starting quarterback job for the Cleveland Browns. Because here's a quarterback who tore his Achilles in the 7th game or the 7th week of the 2024 season in October, retore the Achilles and is now trying to overcome those physical challenges to recapture the Browns starting quarterback job. And there's a real possibility he's going to do it. If the owner is saying that he's got a great chance to start, we'll take him at his word. So right now we've got Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, and Dylan Gabriel vying for the Browns starting quarterback job. We do not expect the Browns will draft a quarterback here that has a realistic chance to win the starting quarterback job, though you never know how a rookie quarterback fares. And right now, Watson's got as good a chance as anybody to win that job.
So, Jordan, when we were talking this morning, why is it you think Shedeur Sanders finds himself in a very good spot right now?
Yeah, one term you hear when you're in NFL locker rooms and meeting rooms, the best ability you can have is availability. And that's what Deshaun Watson hasn't been able to provide.
Today, I promised we would set aside some time for this, and let's do it now, because here is yet another mock draft. We have an alternating mock draft that just came out this morning, and it's got all of our draft experts. It's Mel, and it's Matt Miller, and Jordan Reed, and Young Fielding Yates, and they took turns making their picks. And once again, the most important thing I want you to see is the second name on your list. They have Ty Simpson falling to the second round. The New York Jets have 2 first-round picks, one of them at 16 overall, and then they have the first pick of the second round, and that is yet another mock. Matt Miller did one himself last week that showed Ty Simpson falling to the second round. Now, there's been so much conversation about Ty. Jordan, you were involved in it with how much you like him, and Dan Orlovsky obviously has said repeatedly how high he is on Ty Simpson. But now we're starting to see these mocks moving in the other direction. What can you tell us about what you're hearing about Ty Simpson's place in this round one?
Here's the thing. I think there are some people that really like Ty Simpson in this draft, and all it takes is one. And we heard similar questions last year about Shedeur Sanders when he was projected by many people to be a top 10 pick, first-round pick, and didn't wind up going until day 3.
Right.
Now we're in a situation with Ty Simpson. He's not going to fall like that. We don't expect that to be the case at all. Most people believe he's a first-round talent. Okay, let's go through the potential spots and figure out if we could find a landing spot. He's not going to go in the top 10. We do not believe he's going to the Jets at 16.
Okay, that's a big one because that we know the Jets met with him.
Do not believe he's going 16th to the Jets. Don't believe he's going to Pittsburgh at 21. The Rams are somewhere in there. A lot of people thought the Rams would be there. Well, guess what? The Rams now might need a wide receiver as well with Puka in rehab. And I have never sensed that he was going to the Rams in round 1 anyway.
Okay.
We'll see how that plays out.
Right.
I don't think he's going to Cleveland at 24. I don't think he's going to Miami at 30. So where is he going in the first round? It may just be that we get a scenario like last year where the Giants traded up for Jackson Dart at 25, I believe, and took him there. There may be a team that we don't know right now. It could be any one of those teams that sees the value for Ty Simpson in the back half of the first round, jumps up and takes him. But it is hard to pinpoint the spot today with a team in the first round. You could say, this is where I think is a landing spot for Ty Simpson.
And I want to tell you again, I'm all I am is an aggregator of information about the draft. I'm not an expert in any part of it, but I'm hearing that from everybody. What you just said, I'm hearing from everybody is, yeah, I think he's going to go in the first round, but I can't figure out where, and so maybe it is someone that winds up trading in. So let me get my quarterbacks in on this. Again, Jordan, you made your case on this last week. You believe Ty Simpson is worthy of being a first-round pick in the NFL draft.
Yeah, and I think the Jets would be stupid to pass on him twice in the top 16, and I think they'd be stupid with that 33rd overall pick to not trade back in eventually to the first round to take him for many reasons, because of the fifth-year option being one of them. But here's the psychology behind this that I think is interesting. When you get a quarterback that you know is going to go in the top 10, which is not Ty, a lot of teams that maybe don't want him are going to say they really like him to kind of amp up the ability to trade with someone that doesn't want to miss on him. When you got a quarterback that has the potential to slip to the teens, to the 20s, to the second round, if teams like him, they're not going to say anything because they want him to fall. So I think there's a little bit of psychology with where is he going to go. But Ty Simpson is a first-round quarterback. Ty Simpson is a guy that's a franchise quarterback. He has elite traits, anticipation, pocket presence, suddenness. He's got great arm talent. One body of work means maybe he sits for a half a year or a year, could be the best case scenario, but he is a guy that will be a franchise quarterback, and I don't see any way he gets out of the first round. Someone's going to jump back into it at worst in the 20s to take him.
As I'm listening to this and as I'm thinking about what everybody's saying, it all of a sudden takes me back to 2024 when nobody where very few people had Bo Nix going
Right.
in the first round. And Denver was sitting there the entire time planning to take Bo Nix. But Denver never advertised, we love Bo Nix, we're taking him. You didn't hear that at all, but he was never going to get past Denver's turn in the first round.
Go ahead, Jordan.
And I'm going to let Tim jump in real quick. Just one more thing. I think thinking you are waiting for the class next year is a massive mistake. We should have learned that about this class. Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier,